Imagine walking into public and private schools and completely capturing the hearts of both teachers and students with biblical stories and values. We live in a world that is infiltrated with technology and screens. Gobsmacked offers a program that takes children away for a moment in time, that believes in them, that completely shows them their true giftedness and who God has created them to be. My name is Patrice and I'm from New Zealand, and I want to show you how Gobsmacked inspires imagination based on values and abundant living.
Hi, my name is Patrice and I'm the director of Gobsmacked Productions. I go into schools and I direct whole school musicals, and I take care of everything from start to finish, including all costumes, props, sets, to put on an outstanding school musical in just under 3 weeks. I always say, what do you remember in your schooling years? You always remember your school camp and your school productions. You always remember when you were a tree in the school production. For anyone who comes to watch these musicals, they are completely gobsmacked by what they see and what these children can achieve in just such a short amount of time. These children go, well, if I can remember a 3-minute dance, all the choreography, all these lines, I'm going to give maths a go. I'm going to do that thing that I've been struggling with. I'm going to give that a go. All the schools that I've been to, they have notably said that the academics have vastly improved. The social skills, the confidence, they really extend their vocabulary. As a primary teacher, I understand how much work goes into teaching, and the government is requiring more from them now. To bring on an outside company who can take care of the musical, and it's done fast, it takes that pressure off the school. I love what I do, and I think when you dig deep into what God has naturally gifted you with, it doesn't feel like work. You know that it's your God-given talent and it's your gift back to the world. I'm looking for like-minded people. I'm looking for people who would like to write scripts. I'm looking for people who can help with marketing. I'm looking for people who can help me grow this, bring this to Australia, bring this to America. I would love to bring a team on board who are passionate about script writing, passionate about teaching dance, passionate about teaching drama. Anyone who would love and think that this would be their dream job, because this is the dream job for people who love it. Anyone who would like to be trained by me, and I would be able to teach them how to integrate this into schools and teach this throughout anywhere in the world. We can go anywhere. If you would like to put on an outstanding musical that completely gobsmacks your audience, then you need to give me a call, because I will help you transform your children into stars that you will be completely proud of.
Now let me share with you the testimony how God led me to lead Gobsmacked Ministries. My father was a Seventh-day Adventist minister for 8 years, but at 4 years old, he tragically died on Mount Ruapehu. So my mother brought me up, and in Psalm 68:5, God promises that he will be there for the fatherless, and I can vouch for that. And so I grew up, and my mother, she put me into ballet. She put me into dance, and I know as an Adventist, and we know deep down that if my father was still alive, I may not have done dancing, because of what it was like back then. But I did my dancing, and I realized I had a gift, and I wanted to pursue it. I wanted to pursue a career. And you know what? God plants us where he knows your purpose needs to be fulfilled. And he planted me into a church where I was mentored, where I was looked after. And I had mentors that believed in me, and they said, do you know what? We want you to choreograph for the Pathfinder Camporees. We want you to do creative expressions for church. And so I was looked after, and I was brought into that church, and they let me do what I loved. And so I did that throughout, and I ended up graduating and passing exams for the highest grades in the world for ballet, modern, and tap. Unfortunately, in my last year of high school, I had a massive injury, and that dream of being a dancer and being involved in the performing arts shattered. And so I went to Avondale University, where my father had studied in Australia, and I thought I'd do 1 year and then I'd go to Sydney Dance School. However, I opened up my own business instructing dance and Pilates, and I just loved university there. So I continued and I studied and I got my Bachelor of Education in Primary Teaching. I went to London and I continued with my dancing. And I worked full-time as a primary teacher. And I kept crying out to God, God, please show me. Why have you given me these gifts? I want to be able to merge teaching with my performing arts. You mustn't have given them to me for no reason. I received a call from a man when I was in London one day. And he said, I've been insisted I must interview you. And I said, really? He goes, there's a big conference here at the moment and principals from all around the world in international schools. They have been called here and teachers like you can pay £300 for the conference to come and line up for the top principals in these international schools to get any job that you would like in the world. And I said, oh. He goes, I know I shouldn't do this, but I've been told I must interview you. When there is a God-given appointment, and this was a God appointment in my life. And he goes, where are you? And I said, I'm 10 metres. I said, I'm in Oxford Street. And I told him where I was, and he said, we're 10 metres apart. And so we met in a Starbucks underground cafe. And in that Starbucks underground cafe, he thought he was interviewing me for a primary teaching job. I told him my dream would be to do performing arts. He said, really? We've just built the biggest theatre in the Middle East in international schools at our international school. And he listened to me about what I'd done. And he goes, I know you don't have the experience teaching the world curriculum, performing arts. He goes, but I think you can do it. So I went to Egypt, and for 2 years, I had to get 2,000 children up on that stage, and I had to show them how to perform musicals. So I started writing everything from scratch. And as I wrote these musicals, I knew I needed to make a business out of this. And when I created my first musical, God gave me this blueprint of how the musical should look, the format of how it should run. My first musical took me 10 weeks. I got it down to 5 weeks when I was in Egypt. I knew I needed to find a music producer. I reached out on Fiverr.com, and the first music producer came back and didn't quite get my vision. So I reached out to another music producer. And I said, hey, look, these are the lyrics. This is how I want it to sound. And he came back and he produced the most amazing song. And I knew this was the guy. 6 months we kept creating songs together for all the musicals I was writing. About 6 months in, he goes, hey, sorry, it's late. It's my Sabbath. And I said, are you Seventh-day Adventist? And he goes, yes. And I said, so am I. And he's come today, he's here today, Josiah Ruff, he's travelled 8 hours to come and watch me speak. And he has produced 130 songs for Gobsmacked Productions. And I'll go on and tell you the ministry that we've continued to do. And so from there, I went back to Tauranga and I said, look, I can direct your musical in 4.5 weeks. Nobody believed me because it hadn't been done. It usually takes 10 weeks, a term and a half to go in and direct a whole elementary and middle school musical. And only one principal believed in me, and he took me on. And I invited all the other principals who had rejected me, given me letters, given me phone calls of rejection. And I said, this is what I can do. Before long, I had 35% of the city doing my musicals. Now, these musicals, they're all integrated with Christian values. They are parallels of Bible stories that they don't even know what they're performing. And I'm in public and private schools. And 5 years, life was going good. 35% of Tauranga schools, I started becoming very well known in the city. But then my whole life fell apart. It shattered, and I don't know if you've been in that place where you lose all confidence in who you are. You don't even know who you are anymore. Well, I was there. And it was the letters. It was the letters from the kids that would messaged me every day. They'd give me letters and they'd say, do you know, thank you so much for choosing me to be a main character. I was bullied and I hated going to school, but you chose me and now I have friends. Thank you for believing in me when nobody did. And I would get letter after letter. I have bucket loads of letters. And these are the letters that saved me and pulled me out. And it was my father's Bible when he was a minister. It hadn't been open in 28 years. And in that time when I was completely distraught in my life, it was his Bible that brought me back, his writings that brought me back. And then I said, God, okay, you've got my attention. What do you want from me? And he said, I want you to pray for people. For 7 days, I prayed and I said, God, who do you want me to pray for? The first person he put in my mind was this girl that was in London. I reached out to her and I said, hey, you come to mind. I'm praying for you. She goes, thank you for your prayers. My baby won't turn. Can you pray for my baby to turn? The baby turned and the baby was born the next day. The second day I reached out to a father who had been brought up with his children and I said, hey, I don't know why I'm praying for you, but I'm praying for you. And he goes, at the moment you messaged, I was on the roof painting and I fell and I felt a hand put me back on that roof. And this happened for 7 days. The third one, my cousin, she was being attacked by a demon, and at the moment I messaged her, a bright light went around her and protected her. I said, okay, God, what do you want? What do you want me to do? You've got my attention. I believe in you. I'm not going to give up on my life. And I got a recurring dream, and it was to start Gobsmacked Ministries. And that dream was that I would go and put it all out to all my schools and say, I'm going to run a 2-day holiday program and I'm going to teach children about God through dance and drama. And so I put it out to the community. I just wrote Christian-based, and within 2 days I had 160 kids sign up. And they came, and I had volunteers who did workshops in choir, dance, drama. And by the end of those 2 days, we invited their family and friends to come and watch. And it was a miracle what they performed in just 2 days. It was a time of COVID, and we had a drama about COVID. We had the Beirut explosion and the Black Rights Movement. And we taught about how when you have Jesus in your life, you will illuminate because you have Jesus living in your heart and you can get through anything. And I said, if you would like to do a free dance, drama, singing, storytelling class with me, you can come and sign up. And I had all these children start signing up. And for 5 years, we've had to move it from the Adventist church to a mega church now. And now we have over 1,000 people that come once a year to listen to, and I'm telling you, my themes are like the final empire. I'm teaching people who are, it's 1,000 people in this room, and they don't know Jesus at all, and they're learning about the prophecy. And we show them everything that's happened in this world, and it's to the date, it's been prophesied in the Bible, and the last thing yet to happen is Jesus coming. And they're listening. There's 300 children, 750, 800 parents and family listening to this message. And all these family and friends and the children, they keep attending these weekly programs. Children are giving their hearts to Jesus. I'm in schools now on a 2-year cycle. Every 2 years they will come through. And they will, every 2 years I go through and I'm going to give you some of this. Every 2 years I come through and every school is on a 2-year cycle. So this is just some of the footage of what I'm doing with the kids and the holiday programs. And so what's happened now is that I am actually going to I'm going to put out an appeal because I know that God, He has called me to this ministry and He wants me to spread this to the rest of the world. I've spent 10 years writing these packages, 10 years writing these musicals, 10 years perfecting these musicals that will be brought out throughout the world. And I'm nearly at that point to release them. And what I want to do is I want to put a campaign and advertise to all of America and say, hey, if there's anyone who's dance, drama, singing, we have an open door here. There is an opening door that says, hey, we can go into these primary schools and elementary schools and middle schools and we can be the hands and feet of Jesus. When these kids get to the end of each musical, it's like a miracle. They're like, how did that happen? The teachers, everybody is like, how did that happen? And we know it's because the Holy Spirit is there and He is creating this miracle. And that's why they're coming to these ministry holiday programs. That's why they're coming and they're giving their hearts to Jesus. And so I want to be able to spread this, and I want to teach people how to do my programs. Everyone back home and who do my musicals, they go, I'm videoing me doing all the dances at the moment, all of the counts, all the lesson plans. And the teachers say, let's make Patrice a millionaire overnight. They know the quality of this work, but I'm like, I don't care about money. I care about the kingdom. I don't want to release these musicals to the world and just sell them. I want to train people who are like-minded, who have a heart for God, who believe in these children, who make a relationship with these children, and then get them to use my programs and teach the rest of their schools. And once we get into the elementary and middle schools, we can then invite them to come to the weekly programs and then to our holiday programs. You know, I don't think we realize how much of an impact dance and drama can have on them actually understanding the gospel. But they do. They understand it so much more when it's in the form of dance and drama. It comes alive for them. I just directed the North New Zealand Pathfinder Campery musical, and we had 50 children get baptized, just put their hand up, because when you put it in dance and drama and singing, they understand the message. They understand clearly what God's trying to say to them. And there's all these stories, and we tell them stories, but childhood is the unique opportunity and the opening for the gospel. But that opening closes fast. Do you know by the age of 13, your spiritual identity is largely set in place? What you believe by the time you're 13, you will die believing. This is from Georgia Barna, and nearly 70% are children who are the ones giving their hearts to Jesus, and that's the decision that stays. So I'm telling you, it is this age group. This is the door that is opening. God has opened this door for me. He has opened this door for us to get and be the hands and feet of Jesus in these elementary and middle schools. I've got 35% of Tauranga, one city. I know I could easily come in to America and get 35% of the schools here. That's not even including the rest of the percentage. I mean, I can't take any more schools on. Every school's on a 2-year cycle. But I can train your teachers up here in America, and I can show them this program. And then you, my pastors, you need to start planting churches for the kids and the families that come out of this program. I'm not the pastor, but you guys are. And you guys need to take on this ministry God has given me. I am the bridge. This business is the bridge. But you guys need to start baptizing these families and these children. So, who's going to walk through that open door with me? Who's going to try and get 35% of your own country at least? And we're being conservative here. Let's get into our elementary and middle school where it counts. Thank you so much, everybody.